So as you can see, it's a little bit dark and dingy in my truck, but everything's custom made. I built this little wooden cabinet which houses my fridge. It also has a middle section which I purchased a load of these drawer organisers. I do actually have the battery management panel there. I was going to make a little hole and have that coming through. I think I'm probably going to do that on my next trip. Sorry, my next maintenance schedule. But for now, it just sits there. It's out of the way. I can turn the inverter on or off by just basically reaching my hand in there and switching it off like so. It's quite straightforward. Let's grab hold of this, press this button, and that's the inverter off, inverter back on. Shows me the power level of the battery, and also has a low voltage alarm, and it will automatically cut out the power to everything when it reaches like 11.8 volts, and that stops the batteries from depleting too much and damaging the cells. As you can see, I have a microwave here, and that's a 700 watt, and I got a 1000 watt coffee machine. Now this air conditioning unit, I actually purchased it from Japan. They don't sell them in the US, funny enough. They also only use 100 volts of electricity, so I've had to buy a little step down transformer, which I have located down here. So it's nicely sat down there. It plugs in, and then this plugs into the inverter. So underneath the bed, I have pretty much 3 compartments. I've got this compartment which is just full of equipment, emergency equipment, tools and so forth. It's also got the washer bottle in there for the wash wipes. This is actually used for storing of non-perishable foods and paper plates and all that type of stuff. And I also have a lot of other space to put clothes and other items I will take with me on my trip. Do store 2 metal bars in there as well. There is actually a tube down there which I run out the back of the air conditioning unit to capture any water, and I'll use a little bottle in this area down here, or sometimes if I have a larger bottle, like a 2 litre soda bottle, I'll put it down in that corner and put the pipe in there. But because I'm currently in the desert, I'm in Las Vegas at the moment, so there's hardly any moisture, so I haven't seen any moisture coming out the back of the air conditioner whilst running it through tests. But I'm sure when I get to more humid areas like Houston, Texas, I'll definitely have to put that pipe on to capture any moisture what's coming out. Now I was going to drill a hole and have it permanently fixed straight down into the outside, but then I'll see. I might do that on a later date. Anyway, moving on, we have a power inverter here, which is a 2000 watt power inverter. I installed that probably back in August initially, and the battery was obviously is hooked into this auxiliary battery here. It's a 90 amp truck battery basically in a battery box. As you can see in this corner, I have, and this is quite important, it's a dual battery isolator. It's basically a one-way diode, and it kicks in at 13.3 volts. So when I start the engine up on the truck, it knows that it's now running at 13 volts, because the alternator on the truck actually pumps out about 14 volts, and as soon as it goes past that 13.3 volts, it kicks in. There's a little LED light kicks in there, and it starts to charge the auxiliary battery up. But when I turn the engine off, it detects that the voltage drops from 13.3 volts back down to 12, like it says 12.8 volts on there, and when it drops back down to that voltage, it stops charging from the main batteries, but it also prevents this battery from draining the primary batteries, which start the engine and power the rest of the systems on the truck. So it's pretty critical you have one of those. I've used some very thick gauged wire there. I can't even remember what gauge it is, but that runs all the way from the main battery on the truck. I've got these terminals which I bought a special crimper and the shrink wraps, and I basically put it onto one of the terminals on the main batteries, on the main battery harness, and it runs throughout the cab along these along the bottom of the cab here. And it basically, you know, it's all tie clipped up underneath here now, so you can't see any of it. This device is my latest installation. It's actually a Powermax power converter charger. Now this charges the batteries up, and I did actually think of just hooking these up directly to this battery here, but then I thought to myself, well, what happens if I want to charge up my main batteries on my truck? Because I either leave my lights on or does something happens, and you know, I need to charge my main batteries up, and I know about my booster pack I use for boost starting cars wouldn't be enough to boost this truck. So I thought to myself, instead of hooking this directly up to the auxiliary battery, where that isolator would then not allow the charge to flow back into the main batteries, I thought if I run these cables, I think these are APU something 4s, so 124 amp cables basically. This power adapter is 55 amps, so there's plenty of you know, plenty of thickness in these cables to handle any, you know, any ampage, and it's 12 volts as well. So it pumps out 12 volts. You can switch it to 16, but that'll be too much for the for this installation. So it's 13.6 volts, and then what it does is it charges up the main batteries, and these wires run all the way back down here and then round the back, and then they actually go all the way back along the cab to a little outlet I've made over on that side of the cabin, that side of the cab, because that's where the batteries are, unfortunately. And now I was thinking of moving this and having it installed over here, but then I was a bit worried because I'm so tight for space in here for stuff. It would have took up a lot of space. Also, I just wanted I wanted everything all in one place. I didn't want like power units there and power units there. I know there's a little bit of voltage drop. I get a little bit of voltage drop, but not a lot, because it's obviously the charge is actually double backing on itself. It's coming from here, it's running to the batteries, and then it's charging the batteries up, and then there's actually a cable then what runs from that battery all the way back to this battery, that big thick cable there. So there's a lot of cables running around, and you do lose some power through having long cable runs, but you know, it works for this application, and I think, you know, I'm happy with it. So anyway, the only other thing I needed to do was I modified this cable, chopped it off, because it was a big long cable. I actually used that for something else, but chopped off the cable, made it short, and then I put an adapter on there. And then I used a different piece of cable. This is 300 volt cable, like, you know, normal appliance cable, the stuff at the bottom. But it runs all the way. I need a long enough piece for it to run all the way to a plug socket, which I've actually installed on the outside of the truck, and I'll show you what that is used for later on. But as I was saying, this is 120 volts in, and it's 12 volts and 55 amps out, and then it runs back to the main batteries, charges those up, and then when it starts to charge those up and it raises to 13 volts, that diode kicks in, and it basically allows this battery to start charging up. So all my batteries get charged up basically by this device, but I need a generator to power this, because this is obviously 120 volts. So I'm just going to show you that little setup now. But before I do that, I just want to show you how my air conditioning machine works in full isolation of anything running. So I've got no generators running, I don't have my engine running right now. It's running purely off this 90 amp battery through that 2000 watt inverter. So if I just press on, and then my little thing comes on, there's a good nice breeze coming out. You can hear the compressor kicks in. I can move these little louvres and point it directly at me on the bed as well, which is very, very nice. So I'll close all this down. Well, actually I'll leave it up for now, but yeah, it runs perfectly fine, you know, runs perfectly fine off its own battery, and it's 250 watts, so I should get a fair few hours of power from that on its own, just it running. Now I was thinking of switching my microwave around and having the door on this side, because I used to not use this flat surface, and that's why I used to have my microwave door on this side. But now that I've got this here, and it's going to be here most of the time during the summertime, I can't get to my microwave doors, and it is a bit of a pain in the ass, because what I have to do is, obviously when the bed's down, I can undo the pipe at the back. There's a quick release thing that I can turn here, and I can just disconnect the pipe quickly, and then I can get this and just put it on the bed. And then if I want to use my microwave is, you know, the door's not obstructed. But I was thinking maybe I should take my microwave off, because obviously I've got it all strapped down, everything's all secured down. But then if I bought some more L-shaped brackets, I could actually turn the microwave around 180 degrees and have the front door on this side, and this little hump would fill this space here on the back, and then I could just have my door there and just put my food in my microwave that way, and just, you know, it just means I'm gonna have to use the microwave door from this side. But it'd actually open up this way anyway, because if I turned it around, the buttons would be on this side and the door opens like that way. So that would be not too bad actually. But you know, again, it's something I'm going to think about. If it becomes annoying where I have to move this out of the way to use the microwave and then put it back, then, you know, I think that's something I'm going to do. Also had to make a quick adjustment of the printer and move the printer across, because again, everything's all secured down, and you can see the exhaust right there for the thing. This blows out hot air. So what I did is I made a blanker for my window. As you can see there, it's actually made out of a nice thick piece of cardboard, not even like a little crappy piece. It was a really thick piece, a really rigid piece of cardboard. It took me a while to actually find a decent piece, and then I used a high strength glue to bond this rubber matting onto it to give it like water resistance and give it a little bit more substance as well. And then I just went over it with some extra strength duct tape to seal around the edges. So this is how I install my window vent. Just get my camera positioned a little bit better. Okay, so wind my window down, as you can see. I can do this with the window, oops, sorry guys. I can do this with the window closed. That's better. I can do it with the door closed. So I can do it with the door closed like that. And then that's why I wanted to use cardboard, because I needed a little bit of flex in the board. Oop, not taken. So try and get a better angle. Like it says, very tight for space inside this truck. So anyway, fits in nicely into the slot where the window goes, and you just bend it a little bit, get it into the other slot and push it up and push it up into the slot like so, and then you just wind the window up. As you can see, the window pretty much seals into it because it's got a nice, you know, rubbery sealy end. It seals in there nicely, and obviously I cut this hole, so all I've got to do, I'll turn this off, don't need to leave that on. So all I do is turn this, Son of a bitch. There's no room to do anything in here. Literally, you do not have room to swing a cat in a car hauler because we do not have tall roofs. Anyway, put the pipe, extend the pipe, and just put the pipe there like so. So that's basically how I vent out the hot gases from the air conditioning, and then as you can see, that pipe just fits all in nicely there. It's like, you know, it just, you know, I can literally drive my truck around with that in situ. This thing's just, you know, don't want to move. It's pretty much, you know, it's on rubber feet, and if I brake really hard, it's not going to fly forwards because this is all screwed down, so it's not going to, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. So that's why I've got that like that. And then again, I can just turn on the air conditioning. So it's come back on again, and then the hot gases are expelled outside, and I don't have a big gap in my window. And if I really want to, I can still, you know, cover up the window with this if I really want it. So I've got my privacy still, and then yeah, that's fine. If I'm holed up for a couple of days, or if it's a hot night and I don't want to, you know, run my engine all night, and my air conditioning and the sound of the engine running is quite annoying as well when you try to sleep, I can literally just have my little air conditioning unit going on there, and then yeah, it's self-sufficient is that. It doesn't rely on a generator right now. It's running purely off the battery, which is all there, and it's not going to flatten my main batteries down because of that one-way diode. Anyway, so I want to show you the next piece of my APU setup. So as we move around, as you can see, car haulers just do not have the luxury of tons and tons of space. Now, you do get a lot of space on car haulers, but the problem is when I'm moving vehicles, I need every ounce of space. I will literally have my cars coming right up to this bar right here, literally, you know, really close to the bulkhead of the back of the truck. You know, the bumpers will pretty much come up to about here on some vehicles, and yeah, so I can't really put a generator there because it'd stick out. You might if you made a little platform, you might able to get away with squeezing a generator in there, but it's very tight, and there's a good chance, you know, there's been times when I've had cars on here and it's so close, I've had to have them so close to stop the cars from literally almost touching, because some of these cars are really large. I've had like e-trons and Q5s underneath here with another car on top, and I've got everything so close, you know, we're talking inches, you know, so I need every single tiny inch of space, and I can't sacrifice putting a generator there and then finding out I put a car here and I can't put it on, and then it causes an issue further down the line with all the other cars, and then, you know, they either touch in the middle when it's turning around a tight turn. So I was going to install something down here. I was thinking of installing another platform, but then I managed to able to get away with installing this little generator in this little spot down here. So it just literally sits on top of my battery box, and I've actually tie strapped it, well, not tie strapped it, ratchet strapped it down, and also chained it or put a cable through here to stop anybody from lifting it. But it's absolutely solid. It's, you know, that I tightened up a lot. I've put these rubber like grommet things to, you know, stop it from sliding around. So it's actually really securely mounted there, and it's not going anywhere. Now, this tank here is actually oil for the hydraulic system. It's not actually fuel. The fuel starts over here. So this is just normal, you know, regular oil. And you know, because of where it's positioned, this is actually quite a bit of a dry spot of the truck. You know, even when it's wet, not a lot of water gets in around here because you've got a lot of cover further in over here, so there's not a lot of water can like get over here. I know it's going to get a little bit wet, it's going to get a little bit mucky, it's, you know, it's going to have a hard life basically being on the side of a truck, but I think it should be okay because all the electrics have the little socket cover on there to stop the water from getting inside that. Now I was going to mount it the other way around, but I really needed to have it mounted this way around due to the exhaust being there. So when I fire this little bad boy up, the exhaust gases come out this way and, you know, go away. Also, it's good that I can manoeuvre this plate down here to the lowest setting, and I can still keep a can there as well, which is good, because I normally use, I also have that these rubber straps holding that in, but I've just moved it out of the way so you can see it. Obviously when I run the generator, all I need to do now to get my auxiliary power running through my generator is obviously move this out of the way, and then I do have, so it's a bit of a pain because the fuel is around the other side of the tank, so it's just a matter of getting my hand around and then opening that up like so, and then also making sure the choke is on, so that's choke on, and then I've got a little switch to switch that, and then the pull start is actually here. Now a couple of ways you can do this. You can do it from this side, you can do it from here, you just turn that choke off, and it's good. It's got a little fuel gauge on it. So while it's in situ, I can fill it up because I've got access to the fuel cap. So I made this special lead, basically an extension lead, and then underneath here I installed a plug, an outdoor plug. Just open that up like so. Yeah, so you can see it just plugs in nicely like that there. And then on this side, you always make sure you plug it into the truck first, because there's obviously no power, so it's not going to electrocute you. And then plug this side in. You can hear right there the load on the engine. So there's load on the engine now, and what's happening, I'll briefly show you inside here. As you can see, got little green lights on now, can't really tell. So you can see that green light, and also should be there's a little red light there as well. That's the one-way diode, because it's now picked up 13 volts. I do have a little, actually I do have a little thing here telling me what my voltage is, but that's coming from the main batteries. That'll go up slowly. Actually, I've got quite a few interior lights on, so it will go up eventually once it starts to charge. Plus, obviously, you know, I don't think it's 100% accurate. It's probably around about 13 volts. But anyway, that's that. I'm just showing you. That is now charging the main batteries plus my auxiliary battery, and it's providing me enough amperage. So if you look here, it's providing me enough amperage as well to actually just run the air conditioner on its own. So as you can see there, the air conditioner's come back on again, and also my fridge is on. Fridge is already on. Oh no, switch my fridge on now. So there you go. I've still got 4 bars. The fridge is now on, And then this is on. I've also got a couple of interior lights on as well. Interior light, air conditioning machine, and fridge, basically. So that's pretty much all you need when you just hold up. I've also tested it with the radio on, and also this fan. It's quite important because the fan really does circulate the air around a little bit more, the cool air. It makes a huge difference. But this fan runs off the engine battery, so that's why I also wanted the engine batteries to be charged up as well, because when I'm held up and this fan's on, I didn't want my battery to get flattened by this fan, you see. And so as long as the generator's on, kind of all these devices on all the time, and it's you know, it's enough to power it. I've tested it for a fair few hours, and it does actually charge itself up. So it's still sat at 12.8, I think it was. Oh no, 12.9 now. Is it 12.8? Oh no, it's 12.9. So it's at 12.9. Oh no, 12. Oh no, hold on. 12.7, but I just heard the compressor kick in then, so. But yeah, you just give it time. It charges very slowly on this generator setup compared to when you've got the truck running, but it does charge and it does run everything. Now, I did actually rig everything up on this side. I used to have the fridge plugged into all this, but then I thought, well, there's no point me having the microwave just on standby and the printer and everything else not using any, you know, just using up all that power. So I've actually got that on a power block behind here, which I can turn on and off. So if I need my microwave on, I can just switch it on and then I can turn it off, rather than just having the clock using that extra bit of energy up. Plus the two adapters from, there's an adapter for the printer, and there's also an adapter for this laptop charger here as well, and they use a tiny little bit of electric. So by having that on that plug, it's a power block basically, like a plug bar, and by having that, it basically saves me a little bit of power, not a lot. Oh, not a lot. So yeah, anyway, I just want to show you guys how quiet it is. So once I close the bed down like so, and close this compartment here, and then probably I always like to just have, not the ignition, but I always like to have like just the ignition on a little bit, so the radio's on. Well, the radio's not in there at the moment, but. So I've got my little fan running. For a faster speed, I probably have it on a lower speed while I'm sleeping. I do like to have my radio just like on standby when I'm parked up. So again, I'm just showing you, you know, the fact that I can have all these devices on. So I can literally have that on, go away. Video. So most of the time I'll have my like radio just on low, chilling out, and then if I sit back here, can't really hear that much. I can just ever so slightly hear my generator in the background, just a little bit. It's just like a tiny little, but it's nothing you can hear now. Just for like, you know, you just listen to everything. Now with the sound of the air conditioning machine, and then the fact that, you know, the windows are all sealed up and everything, and the fan, with the fan running at low speed, there's not really much noise. I can hear a tiny little bit back here, as you can hear. If I really wanted to, I could sleep on this side. It's even quieter over here, you know, but I don't get the benefit of the cool air. Like if I sit here, I can actually feel the cool air being blown onto me. It's actually really good. That's, you know, I've spent a long time planning, designing this little setup. Turn that off. And yeah, it's wonderful. It pumps out some nice cool air. I had a little thermometer thing actually. I should have brought you it, but it does actually cool inside here. Once you've got that, vent pipe, I was always having a problem with hot air coming in from when I just had it before. But since I've built that, you know, built that little blanker, it fits in really good. It does the job. It's waterproof. You know, and you can literally, like, you know, I can literally just set off with all that in place. I don't have to pull a generator out. I don't have to mess around chaining a generator to the side of my truck. It's always there. It's always in situ, and that generator will last 9 hours. I'll get 9 hours of power, and then even when the generator runs out, because it's been charging the battery up as well, I'll probably get about at least another 3 hours of cooling just off the battery alone, because it's a very low power usage. It's very low power usage. Is this? It's only 250 volts. Sorry, 250 watts. So the inverter's 2,500. So it's literally, the inverter's not working hard at all. So it keeps, you know, heat and everything down to an absolute minimum by having a low power usage thing. And also, I just want to mention as well, I actually installed a carbon monoxide detector because I'm using a generator, and the generator is obviously, you know, gasoline. So I installed that little carbon monoxide tester right here, just to make sure that works. There you go. Yep. So that works. So that just makes sure that any fumes from outside, which potentially could get into the cab, would set that off. But this recirculates any air from inside here and then blows it outside basically. So there might be some air coming in from some little gaps somewhere. So that's why I've got the carbon monoxide detector, just to make sure that if any gas does get in here from the generator somehow, it's going to set that off and not cause any issues. But apart from that, that's my little APU setup, and I'm really happy with it. I installed it for under £1,000, and it's all top quality stuff as well. It's all top quality transformers, top quality inverters, top quality battery, top quality cables, really thick, overly thick to tell you the truth. I over engineered a lot of the cabling. This I bought it from Japan, and I have a contact in Japan, and if anybody is interested in buying one of these, you can probably purchase one through me. I'm happy to arrange delivery of one of these. Obviously there's going to be a charge for my time and the hassle, but it's cheaper, a lot cheaper than the Cool Breeze damn things that are out there, which are like $1,000 for a Cool Breeze. It's ridiculous. And it's also smaller. It's smaller than a Cool Breeze. It's not as tall,